first time.
So a few years ago, I'm on a bus outside of the concentration camp Majdanek, and yeah, it's pretty funny. And I look out the window, and I see two skinheads walking towards me, and they're giving the Sig Heil. And the whole reason I was in Poland to begin with was I was part of a group commemorating the 60th anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, in which like 17-year-olds fought off the entire German army for like 2 weeks. It was the greatest act of Jewish vengeance of all time, if you don't include me punching Christian Federici in the nose for calling me Four Eyes in 4th grade. I was there also for a personal reason, though. My great-aunt Ela fought in the Krakow Uprising. And after she was liquidated with her sister, my grandmother, to Buchenwald, she traded her ammunition for poetry, and then a tank ran over her legs and killed her mother in front of her, and they both traded poetry for novels, which were published after the war, which was not the easiest route to a book deal, but it did work for them. And her book was called In a State of Memory, which was an estate that I very much was an heir to. As a third-generation Holocaust survivor, I grew up with all of the confusion and pain and suffering and anxiety that you would expect, and all of that amounted to this sense of like, how the fuck could that have happened? And oh shit, what if it happens tomorrow? And what I did with all of that was I focused on the uprising, and I completely focused on a time when Jews fought back, because I thought, well, if it happens tomorrow, maybe I will be one of them and I'll fight back. So I went to Poland to stand there and basically confront all of that shit and say, I'm still here. And that earnestness lasted 30 seconds. I got to Auschwitz, the first stop on the trip, and Auschwitz is like kind of grimmer than Disneyland. It's completely pristine and sterile, and they're constantly rebuilding it and fixing it, and I hated it. I kept waiting for Mickey Mouse to turn the corner, like dressed in like gray stripes, like, welcome to the Holocaust. You know, like it was tourism, and I didn't want to be a tourist. I wanted to feel. So I spent the first week basically cracking terrible jokes about how Zyklon B stained the gas chambers blue and it looked like a Smurf orgy, and no one thought it was funny, and I like would go back to the hotel room and watch Polish porno until I could fall asleep, and it was really grim. And yeah. And then I got to Majdanek, and Majdanek is really far east, and the Allies hadn't bombed Majdanek, so they didn't need to rebuild it, and the Russians had captured it before the Nazis could destroy it, and it stands the way it stood at the end of the war, except it's rotting because it's off the beaten path. Most people don't go there. And I walked around Majdanek, and there were ghosts, and the walls were breathing and screaming at me, and it was horrible. And I was completely in pain and suffering, and it was real. And I desperately needed a container to put it in, and I get back on the bus, and I see these two skinheads coming towards me, and I break. And I go running down the aisle, and I get to the door, and I'm fighting with the door because the Polish bus driver doesn't see them, and he's like, we're all getting on. Why are you trying to get off? And I'm like panicking, and I'm trying to get out because like I desperately want to stick my boot in these guys' face, you know? And as I struggle, a crack in me kind of opens up, and that crack makes enough room for all of the doubt and cowardice of like, you know, being like a 25-year-old Nebuchadnezzar Jew. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what are you gonna do if you catch these guys? And I realized like, I'm not gonna do anything. And all of the adrenaline just drained from me. And in its place was just a single memory. And it was a time that I asked my Aunt Ela about what it was like to fight in the uprising. And her response was, that was Girl Scout shit. 'Cause to her real rebellion was writing. And as I mulled that over, the skinheads got right up against the door of the bus, and I realized that they were like 14 years old. And they probably lived in the row houses just on the other side of the fence of Majdanek, literally up against the electric fence. And their park view was a mountain of human ash, and their park was a fucking concentration camp. And they didn't hate Jews, they hated everybody, and I hated everybody, and I really could relate. And I don't know now what revenge is, but I know what then I was pretty sure it was. And revenge at that moment was that Majdanek and Auschwitz and Buchenwald would just crumble and return to the earth, and that real revenge would be against God, not against man, and that real revenge would be forgetting.
One more time for Aaron. Beautiful. Oh, some girl just kissed him. It's a mitzvah!